It was Halloween, 2007. I was 15 at the time, and me and my friends wanted to do something fun on Halloween. We decided to go around the local neighbourhood playing Ding Dong Ditch and doing some trick-or-treating. Most of the houses on the road looked amazing, well decorated, with skeletons and pumpkins on their front doors. However, there was one house with nothing. No cars on the drive, no lights on, nothing. It looked abandoned, but we knew it wasn't because we know people were living there doing it up. So, me and my friends decided to go and Ding Dong Ditch this house. We walked up to the door and knocked on it, and then we hid round the corner and waited to see if anybody would answer. We waited for a bit and there was nothing. So I walked up to the front door and pressed on their buzzer. Then I ran round and quickly hid again. That's when it got strange. Suddenly we heard a noise, like a window opening. Me and my friends stayed hidden and waited to see if the people in the house would say anything. But there was nothing. Me and my friends decided to call it a day and just go home. But then, we heard a very, very loud sound. It was a chainsaw, coming from within the back garden of this place. We thought, why would somebody be out with a chainsaw at 10 o'clock at night on Halloween? And was there even anybody home? It could have just been someone playing a Halloween prank, but me and my friends were scared and we decided we should go. But then it came again, louder and closer. Me and my friends stayed as quiet as we possibly could. It sounded dangerously close, but we couldn't see anybody and we couldn't hear any footsteps. But me and my friends were terrified. We couldn't see anybody. Where was this coming from? We decided, on 3, we were going to run as fast as we possibly could all the way home. We counted 1, 2, 3. Then we ran as fast as we could. After a few minutes of sprinting down the road, we eventually got back home. We quickly ran inside and told my parents what just happened. But they were confused. They said, "We know the people that live in that house. They're on holiday at the moment." Me and my friends looked at each other in terror. If there was no one there, where the hell did that chainsaw come from? My parents were worried. They decided to go to the house alone and see if they could see anything. They went and apparently saw nothing and heard nothing. There was no footsteps, no chainsaw, and no windows which were open. Me and my friends were terrified. What the hell had just happened? To this day, I have no idea what I heard that night. What even happened? Was it a real guy? Or was it something more sinister? It was Halloween night 2012. At the time, I was living on my own. My house was in the middle of the countryside and there were not many houses near it. At the time I was 20 and I'd been living there for a year already. I knew that on Halloween nothing ever happened and no trick-or-treaters came, so I didn't bother putting up decorations. However, this year, it turned out very different. So that night, I went up to bed early and just went and got some sleep. Just like any other normal day really. However, at around midnight, I was awoken by knocking on my door. My house was in the middle of the countryside, so I couldn't imagine anybody coming here. Anyway, I walked downstairs and went to my front door to see if anybody was there. I opened the door and nobody was there. I was slightly confused about what had happened, but I just walked back upstairs and went back to bed. But then it came again, the knocking on the door. I walked over to the window in my room and looked out, but I still couldn't see anybody out there. As I turned away from the window, again, more knocking, even louder. I was getting worried and annoyed at this point, so I walked downstairs, swung the door open and walked outside. But no one was there. I shouted, "Hello, is anyone there? What do you want?" There was no reply. I walked back inside and the knocking instantly started. I quickly swung the door open and said, "What the hell do you want? Leave me alone." There was no reply. But how could somebody knock that quick and then get away? I went back inside, really angry now. But out of the window, I saw a shadow on the driveway. Now I knew there must have been somebody out there. But when I shouted, he did not reply. I turned away from the window and then looked back out. It was gone. That's when things turned for the worse. There was more noise. It was not knocking, it was footsteps, coming from in my house. I walked along my corridors to see if anybody was there, but I couldn't find anyone. I shouted, "Hello? Is anybody there? Are you in my house?" There was still no reply. But then I saw a figure standing at the end of the corridor, staring at me. I couldn't quite make him out, but it looked like he was wearing a black hoodie and he had his hood up. I froze. Me and this figure were standing there, staring at each other. Then he decided to run off. I chased him down the stairs, but it was too late. He was gone. I saw him run off into the distance. To this day, I do not know what that man was doing in my house. Was he even real? Was he trying to rob me? Kill me? I still have no idea. I guess I never will. It was Halloween, 2008. I was living on my own at the time, and I'd just finished decorating my house and getting ready for the night. I don't usually go out, but I usually get a few trick-or-treaters come to my house, so I had a lot of candy ready. I stuck a film on, and around 8 PM I'd already had quite a few people come round trick-or-treating. But then, my doorbell went off, around 10 PM that night. I thought, that's a bit late for kids to come trick-or-treating. I answered the door. There was a figure standing there. This was not a child, and it was not a trick-or-treater either. He must have been in his 50s. I couldn't quite make it out, but I could just see a dark figure with a hood up. I said to him, "Are you okay? Can I help you?" The man did not say anything. He just carried on staring. I asked again, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" He still did not reply, but he decided to walk a few paces towards me. Then he spoke his first words. He said in a very deep voice, "Can I come in?" I was only in my 20s at the time and I was stupid, and I said, "Yeah, sure, I can help you if you need help." The man did not say anything, but walked into my house and sat down in my kitchen. So I sat down and said to the man, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" He replied, "I'm not here." I said, "What do you mean you're not here? You're literally sitting in my kitchen." He said, "I'm not here." I didn't think this guy was very well. I said to him, "What's your name?" He pulled out his ID card, and I remembered his name. And I thought, tomorrow I would call around and try and find him some help. I then said to him, "Are you hungry? Are you okay?" He said, "Yes." I gave him a packet of crisps and some bread, and then he decided to walk out of the house. He stared at me and said, "Thank you." He left. I thought the whole situation was very strange. Some random man had just walked into my house, taken food, and then left. I was very, very confused, but I went to sleep. The next day I called a hospital. I told them the man's name and asked if they could get him some help. But the woman on the phone said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" I said, "Yes, why?" She said, "This man died 50 years ago." I said to the woman, "What? But he was in my house last night." She laughed and said, "Must have been a ghost then," before hanging up the phone. I was so confused now. But the things he said were starting to make more sense now. The way he said, "I'm not here." I was confused and thought, maybe it was a dream. But how would I remember his name? And then I walked into the kitchen. The drawers were still open from where I got the packet of crisps out for him, and the table and chairs were still there from where we'd sat. To this day I still wonder, was it some kind of crazy lucid dream? Or did a ghost really enter my house?